Heyo, how's everybody doing? I'm doing splendid. I had a very busy Monday, and it's all right. What's good, worm? Well, but you know, we trying to do some things, trying to enjoy some things, trying to talk about some things. Amen. I had a lovely work day today for my main job. As most of you know, I am, in fact, a licensed clinical mental health counselor. Hold an enormous PhD, no, not a pretty huge dick, but it does cause pretty huge debt, a PhD in rehabilitation, counseling, and administration. And so I love my people, I love black people, I love the LGs, the Bs, the Ts, and the Qs. I love every bit of every label I've ever encountered in my life. But the thing about it is we don't talk enough about mental health shit. And so that's why I personally like to do the cha-cha. No, I'm just kidding. That's why I personally just really want to talk some more about it while I play games and shit, just because it's what I do. Hi, Wayne. I miss you so much. Like, for real. Like, I've been trying to come get a tattoo for like 2 years and it's just never happened. But it is what it is. So, tonight we are, like my caption says, we're putting a little A and D ointment on shit. A and the D representing anxiety and depression. Just kind of talking about that because it is the top two main concerns that I see come into my office, across my desk, into my inbox, asking me questions about. So we just gonna talk a little teeny bit because I can talk all day, especially about anxiety. I can talk all day about that. But if you have any questions, obviously drop them in whatever chat you are watching on and all that good stuff. Let me actually turn this one down just a tad because GTA can get a little bit loud and ain't nobody got time for that. Mess. And plus the loading screens are hella long for no reason, but it is what it is. But anyway, so anxiety is the one I can talk about most of all. So we're going to start there first. That way I get all my energy out with that because I could talk, like I said, eons about anxiety. So the most common thing that comes to my office when it comes to anxiety is people don't know what to call it. They don't know there's a name for it. They don't know that it's normal. And that's mostly thanks for the raid, John. Oh my gosh. But yeah, anxiety and depression is actually very much normal. It is a normal part of human life simply because we've evolved long beyond the days of foraging and hunting and all that good stuff. And we've come up with new predators like just general stress from work, home, school, life, parenting, being a kid, all of that stuff. And so we've developed some new needs of survival. Thanks for the follow, Vanessa. I'm so excited for you and the baby. Oh my gosh. So they are a normal part of life. The thing about it is, hi Chaudry. The thing about it is that because we're taught that we can't just, not be abnormal, we have to be the best at everything we do, we got to do all this, we got to do all that, we think that there's automatically something wrong with us when our anxiety flares up or our depression flares up. Sure, John, I will definitely be your guest host. Sure, gotcha. But yeah, so we automatically think there's something wrong with us, right? When in actuality, there isn't. When I say it's a completely normal and natural part of life. Hello, Return Lachey, happy to see you. I mean, there are times in your life that you get stressed out, and times when the stress lasts so long that we start having physical reactions to it, like panic attacks, like headaches, like tightness in your chest, increased heart rate, sweating outrageously, all of that stuff, right? Oh goody, there we go. Damn, she ready to fight, ain't it? So we are built to handle stress. We are not built to handle stress, chronic stress, which means stress for a long period of time. We are, however, built to be more reactive than proactive, which is unfortunate. And so normal things can stress you out, right? Like your job, or like the things you do during the day. You get a surprise email, your boss want to talk to you for no reason, you drop paint on the floor and now you're afraid your mom's gonna find out, you ruined the kitchen, you know, all the way down to little shit like, oh my gosh, I kind of overslept, I hit snooze too many times. Oh no. Those things are little stress, right? They can have a small resolution, they can have quick resolutions to things or whatever. However, if we let shit build and build and build and build, then we are doing ourselves a great disservice, simply because, yes, gameplay, can you not see it? Oh my gosh, my bad. Thank you for that. Y'all can't see what I'm doing. I apologize. My bad. My bad. I keep forgetting that Grand Theft Auto just does not like to show up unless it is there we go. Sorry. Thanks, Worm. Appreciate it. That means I love you. Whoop. Hot. Good catch, Worm. Good catch. Oh, good. That means y'all didn't see me over there doing all types of silliness with my character just now. Hotter. But anyway. There, you can see it now. So with that, once it builds and builds and builds, it starts taking on, more serious symptoms, like you get headaches all the time, like you feel overwhelmed all the time, like you can't really breathe unless you take a minute, then it's a serious issue. Simply because now you got full-blown anxiety, bruh. So anxiety looks different for a lot of people. And it's expressed differently for a lot of people. A lot of people call it different things. The lovely population that I hail from, the Black and African American population, textbook will not necessarily adhere to labels or admit to anything like, what was I supposed to be doing in this game? Like, saying, oh yes, I have, generalized anxiety disorder. That is not necessarily something we ascribe to, but we will say, I just need to get myself together. I'm doing too much. I'm not going, I'm just going through some things right now. It's usually what we'll say. Cool, cool. Girl, why is you hunched over like this? There we go. And so, for those that don't know, I just started playing this game last Friday, so I'm still figuring shit out. So for people that are trying to figure out, how do I know if I have anxiety or not? A good way to tell is just a couple of symptoms. One, you're feeling more overwhelmed than usual by normal things you have to do. You're pretty sensitive, just kind of emotionally speaking. And in that example, your friends, they may say something to you just kind of trying to be funny, but it really hurts your feelings, even though it normally may not hurt your feelings. So things like that. Oh, so that's how you sneak. Got it. And so you're overly sensitive to things. You tend to get fatigued easily, because being anxious takes a lot of energy, believe it or not, but we'll get into that some more in a minute. What else is a good indicator? Racing thoughts are like having too many thoughts at once, or just kind of an overwhelming sense of panic. Now, panic for a long period of time, that is a different kind of disorder. That's actually panic disorder, and that's not what we're talking about. Oh, goody.
Oh, hey there.
Hey, you look like Diane from BoJack Horseman. So, that being said, with anxiety, you can feel very sensitive, but you can also feel very fatigued, which means I can have energy to get through all the things I need to do, but I'm probably gonna have a full-blown panic attack by the end of the night. And panic attacks and anxiety attacks, they sound like two different things, but for some people, they are two different things. So with a panic attack, you're more so connected to a particular feeling, a particular, ew, I don't like that, that's ugly. A particular feeling, or, you know, just a collection or series of thoughts. With an anxiety attack, it's just a general, overwhelming, everything in the world is going wrong, and I have to think about everything I'm doing, and oh my gosh, I'm freaking out. What time do I got work tomorrow, Andrew? Oh gosh, I don't know. That's a great question. Let's see. Let me look at my schedule for Worm real quick, guys. Tomorrow. 4:30, but then I work my other job at 5:30. And then I'm on go until 10 o'clock. Oh, that's hideous. I don't like that. Ew. Gay crying.
Over here if you need me.
Nobody needs you, hun. Look at your clothes. Nobody needs you. So, going back to anxiety, how it usually presents in my office is someone walks in and saying, I just can't seem to get myself together. I'm having racing thoughts. I am overwhelmed more often than not. I'm not sleeping well. I don't eat, or I don't have an appetite. And it could be all of those things, or it could be, you know, just a small number of those things. And that may be what they come in for, but they also may not know it's anxiety. So, when it comes to why am I never hungry or why don't I sleep when I'm anxious, that, my dear friends, has to do with biology. You see, biology gives us the nervous system, and there's two sides to that bad boy. There's a sympathetic side, which is our fight or flight, let's get ready for this meeting, I'm excited but I'm nervous side, and then there's the parasympathetic side, which is our rest and digest side. I say rest and digest simply because food digestion and all that stuff stops when we are overly anxious. That's why you don't have an appetite. That's why, you know, you don't feel hunger or want to do much of anything. And that's also why you don't really sleep, because if I'm, you know, terrified and trying to run for my life, I don't have time to sleep. If there's a tiger sitting across me right now, napping is probably not on my agenda of things to do. So that's the reason for those symptoms. Now, anxiety, as I mentioned, is a normal part of life. The problem is once the scales get tipped, ooh, I want Fangles. I love those.
Good choice.
Shut up, girl. I know it. Once, oh gosh, I lost my train of thought. Those bracelets are really pretty. But no, once the balance gets tipped with that, like, I am anxious or nervous about a presentation I've got coming up, or I'm anxious because I've got inspection or whatever, but then you have it and it goes away, that's different. When you are anxious about something, especially when it comes to interpersonal relationships, things you can't really handle, things that have you stuck between a rock and a hard place, challenges or problems you feel like you can't overcome because you don't have a solution to them right away, then those things don't necessarily go away and they become full-blown anxiety. Let's be Madonna, y'all. So, how do we deal with the anxiety? So I mentioned earlier that anxiety has a way of making us reactive instead of proactive. So we're going to go with the preventative portion first. Preventative portion meaning things to keep our anxiety in check, because anxiety never fully goes away. That's exactly what I mean when I say it's a normal part of life. Oh, that's cute. Oh, it's pink. So it's never going to go away per se, but you can manage it to the point where it's effective. Because the thing about anxiety and the body and the nervous system, like I just mentioned, is the body doesn't know the difference between nervousness and excitement. So you could be sitting here, you know, at the register hoping your card don't decline, nervous as hell, and your body's, you're like, all right, we on go mode, we gotta hold it tight, we gotta do all this, we gotta do all that. Let's increase the heart rate to keep the blood pumping. Let's keep all the blood in the chest cavity here to protect the organs, which is why your hands sometimes get cold or sweaty or clammy. And you know, let's brace for impact. Whereas with excitement, I mean, we could pick up a shawty be fine as hell. Shawty be sitting there like, hey, you want to go back to my place? And we are excited. We're like, yes, let's get it. The body does not know the difference. Either way, we are bracing for impact. That's unfortunately where butterflies in the tummy comes from. It's because, you know, all our blood is rushing to protect our organs. We're bracing for impact, but the body doesn't know the difference. So to keep it balanced, anxiety-wise, we have to have a nice balance between self-care as well as a way for our body to get back to normal. When I say back to normal, I mean status quo as fuck. Sidebar, I don't remember where the fuck I parked my car at, and that's kind of disheartening, and I'm sure there's a way for me to figure that out, but I want to talk to y'all first. So, oh, that's cool. So we're just gonna steal this one. You better sissy that walk, girl. So, preemptively, what you want to do is to plan things that not only, all right, that's cool, that not only relax our body, but also our mind. So I'm going to say the cliche things like journaling, like self-care, but I say it like that because people simply think that it is, I don't want to talk to you.
It's your boy LD. If you need to get some cheese real quick, fuck with me. We got licks all over town just waiting to get hit. Just walk in with the blam blam and point it at the fool behind the counter. He gonna break bread. And they insured. Don't nobody give a fuck no way. It's all good.
I just want to thank the writers of GTA 5 because this is the most authentic black guy I've ever heard talk.
Meet you at the store to help you knock that motherfucker over.
Either way. So, when I say self-care and journaling like that, I mean literally self-care and journaling. So, let's break that down a little bit. With the journaling piece, the thing that gets me and bugs me the most is that people think journaling only happens one way. Think of it instead as broader, like self-reflection, right? So self-reflection meaning, let me check in with my mental health status today. Let me check in with my anxiety today. Let me check in with my trust issues. Any concepts or values that stand out for you as, you know, being difficult to manage. Or, you know, positive things. Oh shit, we're at the airport. I always get stuck out here. Or positive things that, you know, you may want to acknowledge or highlight. So shit like that. So when people usually hear me say journaling, they're like, oh, I gotta tell you about my day, and I gotta tell you what symptoms. No, you don't have to do that. You don't have to put any limitations or rules on how you journal. You don't have to write. You can, you know, you can doodle, you can draw phrases, you can jot down shit on a whiteboard, you can talk into a video camera. When I went to my own therapist, we was about to end up back at the airport again. When I went to my own therapist, she suggested journaling to me, and I was just like, absolutely fucking not. And isn't that terrible? A therapist is saying absolutely fucking not to journaling. But then she suggested to me, well, what is it about journaling that you hate? And for me, like many that may have grown up in a household with an angry black mouth, diaries and journals are not sacred and they're not safe. So why keep one? And on top of that, my thoughts would be so much that there would be no point in trying to write stuff down because my thoughts are too fast and my hands can't keep up. And so she suggested to me, well, you can do more than that. You can talk into your laptop camera, or you can You can talk into your voice recorder on your phone. You can jot down notes on whiteboard, do bullet journaling, whatever is effective for you. As long as you are taking consistent time to self-reflect, empty your brain, whatever the fuck you want to call it, do that shit. And when I say consistent, I don't mean consecutive. It could be on a Tuesday night one night. It could be like on a Thursday night the next week, as long as you are providing time for yourself to check in with your thoughts. Because that's another thing about anxiety and depression together, is we are terrified of what's in our brain. And we should not be that way, because we should be friends with our brain. So you should instead, sit with those thoughts sometimes, because instead of them randomly popping up out the blue and making us feel bad, that means we're taking intentional and conscious control of what we want to think about, because those thoughts are going to be in there regardless. We might as well tap into them, see what's underneath them, and stop being so afraid of them so that we can fix them, right? So going back to the self-care part, everybody says self-care. Self-care used to be like my most hated buzzword, because everyone's like, oh my god, hashtag self-care, but no one was fucking doing it. It is not necessarily bubble baths and getting your nails done or anything like that. Sometimes self-care is a daily action. Sometimes self-care is saying no. Sometimes self-care is being vulnerable enough to saying, hey, I'm feeling burnt out, or hey, I'm feeling particularly anxious today. Can you sit with me, or can you cool off? Did not mean to do that. Other times self-care can be as simply as having and enforcing healthy boundaries. Let me give you a great example. I am so integrated at my job that everybody calls me for everything. And that is problematic, because that means there are opportunities to not eat lunch, not go to the bathroom, not do nothing, because people are literally calling me all the time. So that's a problem. And so when I'm teaching my students, my clients, or whatever to set healthy boundaries, oftentimes I give them that example of, I'm on my lunch break, I'm sitting in my office eating, and then I get a call. It's my boss, and I let it ring. And they're like, oh my gosh, aren't you terrified? You're going to get fired. You're going to get this. You're going to do that. Now, granted, it doesn't go without saying that I just said I'm very integrated in my job, which means they kind of need me. But that point aside, before I even got to this point, I had that boundary in place. I look at my student and I say, if I were somewhere off campus eating lunch, this phone would still be ringing. And so I am going to take my lunch break and I want to call her back afterwards. Because even though it may feel like, oh no, I don't want to be a burden, I don't want to let people down, that's not important, because you'd be letting yourself down, bucko. So with that, healthy boundaries, enforcing those, and not being afraid to enforce those, because that's what keeps you afloat, is important. And if people can't respect your boundaries or feel like they are important, you may be in the wrong place. So self-care is saying no. It is enforcing boundaries. It is saying, no when you mean no, saying yes when you mean yes, saying what you mean, albeit in, whatever delicate form you need. But that is what that is. Now, let's talk about acute anxiety, meaning anxiety that's happening right fucking now. Like all this, proactive shit is great, but being able to handle it in the moment is even better. So, get yourself acquainted with mindfulness. Get yourself acquainted with grounding techniques, with belly breathing. So not just deep breathing, belly breathing. Because, once again, going back to that good old biology, belly breathing connects us directly to our nervous system, both sides, and shocks it into saying, hey man, we up here, we need to come back to the middle. And your nervous system be like, alright, cool. So belly breathing is important. Being able to belly breathe slow is important. That also is helpful, just as a focal point when you're trying to belly breathe and your mind is full. And coupling that with grounding techniques or mindful sensory techniques that allow you to come out of your brain and put your feet back on the ground a bit. is also a good way to just kind of pull yourself out of that anxious moment before a panic attack arises. Now, everyone has a different type of process for how they handle panic attacks. For me, I have to have a glass of water beside me because I get very parched. I have to have like a soft blanket or something. Now, granted, I haven't had a panic attack in a couple years, but I do still remember my process because it's helpful. So, goodness. So having your own process for your panic attack is helpful. If there is a particular piece of, food or an item or an article of clothing or a teddy bear or something that is comforting, put that as part of your panic attack crash kit. For me, I have to have a Snicker bar in a basket, my teddy bear, and that blanket, and a glass of water. So whatever it takes to, create a process out of it. Don't be necessarily subjected to it. Have yourself a plan and a crash kit to know what to do to handle. So grounding, belly breathing, mindfulness helps because sometimes stepping outside of ourselves and paying more attention to our sensory environment meaning, what does the air feel like on my skin right now? What does my weight feel like pressed against the floor right now? What kinds of things do I feel like doing in the moment that I'm not doing right now? So really paying attention outside of our head. Ooh, what's that? So that's how you handle acute. Sometimes having people sit with you is helpful. Really? Really? You literally could have kept going. Alright, cool, whatever. Ooh, I want a tattoo. Okay, we're parking right here. So sometimes having people sit with you is okay. Other times, being alone is preferred. It just kind of depends. So if you're trying to support someone having a panic attack, ask them, okay, what's your process? And if they don't have a process, what helps? Just kind of really being there sometimes is enough. Wow, cuckold therapy, that's cool.
Truly a defining moment in our trust and commitment when a well-endowed dude was ravaging her while I looked on.
Wow, this is some awesome dialogue. So, because it is now 8:02, let us switch gears.
Some award-winning art in there.
Let's switch gears to depression. Depression has one thing in common for a lot of people. It's that feeling of being stuck. It's that dark cloud over you. It's that hole in the ground and I'm sitting in it kind of thing. So that's the thing I notice most common. So on the therapist side of things, when I do have a client with depression and they come in, I can off the bat kind of feel it. The second we get done with paperwork and they get comfortable and start talking, it's like I'm literally sinking in the hole with them or ducking under the cloud with them because it is such a real thing that permeates everything they do. So depression, it is more than just sadness. It is, like I said, with stress and anxiety, it is a chronic sadness. It is a sadness that just kind of waxes and wanes. And there's a couple of indicators that usually, tell us if we are having a bout with our depression. For some people, it's a lack of motivation. For other people, it's fatigue. For a lot of people, it's ruminating thoughts. Ooh, that's pretty. For a lot of people, it's ruminating thoughts, and they're usually negative. Being depressed doesn't necessarily mean you're suicidal. Let's just get that one out of the way. A lot of times when people come into my office and they say, I just don't feel like myself, the biggest one I've been encountering since the pandemic started is what is it? I just don't feel motivated. I can't get out of bed, anything like that. So let's talk a bit about motivation first. One, the best TED Talk I've ever been to is, I forget her name all the time, but she talks about how motivation is essentially something we made up. It is a self-made concept. It is a lie. Because there are things that we're just not motivated to do, and to force ourselves to be motivated is just, kind of setting ourselves up for failure. Now, granted, you don't have to accept that take, but just sharing something that I really enjoy. But like, ooh, let's get that one.
Right on, enjoy that.
But yeah, it's just something we don't necessarily get ready to do. Like, no one is motivated to spring out of bed and make your bed in the morning. And if you are, good for you. Well, my dear Vanessa, if you do have all the symptoms I just described, one, they do make therapy for pregos, especially because postpartum and prepartum is a thing. Two, definitely take yourself into account, because being a new mom can be, difficult, because you think the focus is all on the kiddo, and it is not. It is on you guys as a unit, number one, and you just kind of as you're getting back to normal, number two. And that's not necessarily speaking about priority. So, oh, that was Hobbs. I want that one on my back. Oh no.
Yeah, something unique out of a catalog.
I want Thog. But anyway, getting back to depression stuff. So, I completely forgot where I left off because I got distracted by the postpartum thing. Trying to take care of Vanessa. Love you, gal.
Yep, looks good.
But yeah, so with the ruminating thoughts, with, just not wanting to get out of bed, the motivation stuff, we start festering more negative self-talk, right? It's like, I've set myself up to do this thing, I don't do the thing, and now I feel bad, and I'm going to punish myself for it. And the cycle continues. So one of the things I always, try to instill in people about just motivation in general is baby step it. Always fucking baby step it. Because if we are at 100%, then we can expect our 100% best, right? But if we are having a downswing day and our depression is kicking our ass, we are not at 100%, and ergo, how can we expect 100% from ourselves? We gotta baby step that shit. So when I say baby step it, it's just like the post you see. Ooh, that's pretty. You see on social media everywhere. It's just like, don't feel like making food, just eat the pieces. Don't feel like making a sandwich, just eat the pieces of the sandwich. Can't stand up and long enough to take a shower, sit down. Or just bird bath in your sink. Do what you gotta do. And so it's really about doing what you can handle in the time that you're allotted, in the energy that you're allotted. So I like to think of it, so a lot of people use the spoons system. If you don't know what it is, I definitely recommend that you look it up. But essentially, you've got just enough spoons for just enough stuff during the day. Sometimes things require bigger spoons, sometimes things require small spoons, and sometimes some things take a lot of spoons. So, thinking of it more so like I do, thinking of it as rationing your energy, right? If you've got energy to roll out of the bed and go to the bathroom, that means you don't have energy to make your bed, and that's okay. If you've got energy to make it to the living room and sit on the couch, that's a win, right? Let's not beat ourselves up about what we do when we get there. If we have come from a 3-day long bender of I can't get out of bed, to let me slump to the couch, even though I'm doing the same thing, you've moved, you've made progress, you have resituated yourself and hopefully prevented bed sores. So baby stepping it. For some people, I ask them, how do you manage your stress? How do you manage your depression? How do you manage your anxiety? They're like, well, I used to working out helps, but I'm not motivated to do it. Okay, well, when's the last time you tried to do it? Well, I tried last week, and I got to the gym, and my favorite machine was taken, so I just attempted to do this whole workout that I haven't done for a whole month, and I failed, and so I just went home. Okay. There's lots of things wrong with that. One, like I said, we're not on 100%, so you can't just jump right back into 100% behavior. If just getting to the gym and doing one machine workout for 10 minutes is what you can do, hell, 5 minutes, 2 minutes, a minute is what you can do that shit. Because small wins and progress is how you defeat the depression monster. The smaller the win, it's alright. Doesn't matter the size of the win. As long as we're looking for quantity, not necessarily size or quality. So if you got up, brushed your teeth, and washed your face today, and you didn't do it yesterday, that's a whole hell of a huge win for me. Because then we can celebrate that win. And if we can celebrate and acknowledge we did something different with our day-to-day, shit, that means that we can build ourselves and empower ourselves some more to do something else. Because it's a lot easier to nurture, accept, and reassure ourselves than we think it is. Because we're already spending so much energy beating ourselves the fuck up. So if we take it from beating ourselves the fuck up, and there, I like that one. Uh-oh, I think it's stuck.
You like that?
There we go. If we take all that energy from beating ourselves the fuck up and actually take time to acknowledge our efforts, reassure ourselves, nurture, and, inspire and empower ourselves, that's the essence of motivation. Motivation itself doesn't exist because everyone says it just thinks it just happens, and it doesn't. All those little details are how motivation happens. So, with that being said, let's talk about when our brain is too mean to
Some of
us
my
during
pieces
depression.
have been in magazines.
So, aw, she's cute. So when our depression makes our brain super mean to us, that typically means we've got a lot of negative self-talk going around in the noggin, and that's a problem. Saying things to ourselves subconsciously like, oh, you're stupid, you're always like this, we're not gonna get anything else done today, so on and so forth. All the bad shit we've ever heard in our lives culminated into the brain that we can now not trust. So, combating negative self-talk, one, it is not easy. I'm not gonna sit here and lie to you about that. It's, again, taking some of those small wins. If you can tell your brain to shut the fuck up, things are going to be okay at least once out of those 10 times it's talking shit to you, you're doing a great job. Keep that shit up. So if our brain is beating ourselves up, we can, start strengthening that ability to tell it to shut the fuck up and then get a bit better at it by challenging it with evidence, logic, and rationale. Because the other thing about anxiety and depression is it really fucks with our brain biologically. We have memory problems. We have problems with uncertainty, especially when it comes to downtime or relaxing. And I completely forgot the third thing because I'm fucking around trying to be cute. Oh my gosh, what was I talking about? Depression, right? And the brain. Oh yeah, memory problems, as well as rational thought. We have to consciously and intentionally think about rational thought because it won't just happen when we're depressed or anxious. So with that being said, challenging it with logic or evidence or rational thought means slowing down, not necessarily stopping the negative thought, because a lot of people think that's how you fix this. No, because they're not going to go away. They're there for a reason because they live in your brain. Okay? So instead of running with the negative thoughts into that downward spiral, because the spirals happen, what you do instead is you walk with it, right? It's like, all right, you can say all this mean shit to me, but I'm going to take it apart one by one. All right, hit me with the first thing. You're a lazy piece of shit. Okay, Brian. Okay, I see that. You think I'm a lazy piece of shit? Cool. So when I did all this stuff last week, was I a lazy piece of shit then? When I, pushed and did this even though I was tired, was I a lazy piece of shit then? Like, I'm not understanding your logic here. So that is challenging it with evidence, right? It's like, another thing about anxiety and depression, it has us thinking in definitives that we just don't need to believe.
Cash.
And when I say definitive, things like, I'm never going to do this, I'm always going to be alone, this, that, and the other, no one, nobody, all that definitive language, it's just so negative, because if we cannot sit here and have something that says, this specific thing is connected to the specific feeling for me, and we generalize to everything, we're going to think everything's negative. So taking away things like, I'm always so tired versus I am tired more often than I would like to be. See, that has lots less negative connotation to it. It's a bit more lighthearted, and it's useful for how we rewire our brains through our language. So, challenging it with, logic that way could be helpful. let's see, what's a negative brain thing to say? Depression brain, where are you? Speak to me. Things like, I'm never going to amount to anything. Oh, that's always a good one. I'm never going to amount to anything. Challenging that, okay, brain, never is an awful long time. However, we have amounted to several things. So once again, challenging with logic and evidence. So it's more so instead of never, just right now, we're not amounting to anything, which is understandable. Again, nurturing and reassuring yourself, which is understandable given we don't feel 100%. Now, never amounting to anything kind of means we would have stayed where we started. Well, where did we start? I personally started in my mother's house, and, you know, was living under her roof and doing whatever the fuck she wanted me to do. No job, no prospects, no nothing. But now I am not there at that point. So, or if you want to look at it smaller scale detail wise, which often is more helpful, you know, you're never going to amount to anything. Okay, but I have amounted to, you know, getting out of bed today. I have amounted to, you know, if I didn't want to amount to anything, I would not have gotten up today, or I would not have rolled over, or I would have just pissed myself instead of going to the bathroom. Not amounting to anything sounds like a lack of effort, and clearly I've been exerting a whole lot of effort today. So again, not a skill that you develop overnight, but the more you practice it, the more you get better at telling your brain to shut the fuck up and work with me. Oh, I can't decide on the leg tattoo, guys.
Be good.
I like these arm ones though. Hot. I kind of do want a chest tattoo. Let's get a chest tattoo. Let's just do that. So,
Wrong with any of these.
that one's cute. So, challenging your negative thoughts, that's a good way to deal with depression. When you do start to build up, you know, some tolerance to your depression and, you know, start to feel a bit better about yourself, once again, depression is not going to go away. When you get better, things don't just disappear. I know that would sound awesome, but it won't. There is often the chance of having what I like to call a downswing day. Some days we'd be like, damn, adulting sucks and I don't wanna, but we get out the bed. That's an alright day. That's a manageable day. A downswing day is, oh my god, the world is wrong, this sucks, and I can't today. That's a whole downswing day. That is where you need your crash kit for depression. Favorite movie, favorite snacks, pet, cuddle thing, blanket, favorite location, whatever you need, throw it in your crash kit for a downswing day, because it will happen, because we can't have good days all the time, and having something in place to kind of help us feel better in that moment, knowing what to do for ourselves, helps us bounce back to going to be manageable and back onto our pattern of having good days. So with that, I am not a fan of depression naps because all the ruminating and everything, while it does drain energy and cause fatigue, we can't give into it all the time. Limit yourself to one depression nap a day. One. And I'm not talking 4 hours. I'm not talking 2 hours. 30 minutes, 45 minutes, 50 minutes. Set a timer, set an alarm. Because you're acknowledging, one, your need to just kind of take some time. And then also you're acknowledging your need to not stay here. Hello, Storm Chaser. How are you doing? So, limiting depression naps. 30 minutes, 45 minutes, 50 minutes. Timer. I don't care how many alarms you got to set. Do that. And have a go-to behavior to do once you get up from your depression nap. Because if you have something to do directly afterwards, you're more inclined to get back up and start moving again. So, with that being said, if your brain is super duper mean and you've been at this challenging your negative self-talk stuff for a while, and you've been, you know, really working your best, you've got your sword, your coping skills are your sword, you got your sword, and it's still not doing enough. You're doing all the right things, you're going to therapy, you're doing your self-reflection, you're comforting yourself when need be and challenging your thoughts, all of that, that means you may need to upgrade to a shield to go with your sword. And when I say shield, you guessed it, I mean meds. Now, it's funny how this is like the third or fourth one of these that has circled back to medication. So once again, my stance on medication when I first got my license was like, oh my God, what are you talking about? Humans are amazing. They don't need medication. But having one, been someone who has taken medication, and two, whatever, I don't want a refund. Why would I put it on my body if I wanted a refund?
That's a cool one.
No, it's not. And two, being someone that has referred people for medication over the past, Jesus, how many years have I been at this? What, 11 years? 8 years? Somewhere around there. I am now a proponent for medication. I am also a proponent for educating people on medication, simply because they think that, oh my gosh, if I get medicated, I'll be dependent. I won't be myself. I'll be a zombie. The side effects will be too great. I'll have suicidal thoughts, all types of awful things. Now, the thing about medication that no one teaches us is when we go in the doctor's office and we look at them, the professional across from us that is going to prescribe us magic pills to make us feel better, we have a voice. We have a voice. And in fact, using that voice with those professionals helps us and helps them to prescribe the right thing, the right time, and the right dosage. So that being said, I know we are traditionally saying, okay, I go in the doctor's office, they're supposed to take care of me, tell me what to do, and I do it. Absolutely not. This is a mutual collab that needs to happen between you and your prescribing physician. Tell them what you're afraid of. I'm afraid of side effects. Okay, well, what side effects are you afraid of specifically? If I'm thinking about prescribing you this thing as the doctor, and I'm going to list out the side effects, tell me what about those seem scary, what seems manageable, what not. Because then, if, you know, 2 of those side effects seem manageable and the rest of it seems scary, I can switch to another one and be like, okay, this one has the same side effects, but not the other things. How about this? That way it's more mutual. Now, once again, debunking myths about medication. It's going to change my brain chemistry. Absolutely it is, because your brain chemistry is kind of fucked up because your brain's being super mean. If brain is being super mean normally and has been for quite some time, maybe we do need to alter brain chemistry. Okay? We alter it when we drink, when we smoke, when we eat, when we you know, are anxious. So let us just play a collaborative and mutual role in how we choose to alter our brain chemistry, right? Second thing, it'll make me a zombie. Anecdotally speaking, no literature to support this at all, but as a therapist, when someone tells me that they don't want to become a zombie or, you know, not be themselves, that often stems from something they've heard from someone else that has tried medication, did not have a voice with their physician, and had a bad experience with meds, and then said, oh my God, it's the worst thing ever, don't ever do it. You're letting someone else make a decision for you, and you shouldn't do that with your mental health. Once again, healthy boundaries. So, with that being said, it may not make you a zombie. I have yet to meet people that I've referred from psychotropic meds with the advice I'm giving you now that have come back, I'm okay, I guess. No, I have yet to meet someone like that. Because once again, with medication and this being a collaborative mutual experience between you and your prescribing physician, I definitely encourage you to, one, with the prescribing and, you know, the dosage, ask them why. Okay, you're prescribing me this thing and this dosage. Okay, what's your rationale for that? What's your rationale for the dosage? Is this something I need to adhere to strictly? Is this something I need to take at particular times of the day? Is this something I need to consult with you about, you know, if I want to just stop it? Or is this something that you have to help me get off of? So speaking of getting off of, the other big thing about meds is people's biggest fear is, I don't want to become dependent on the medication. So that's another good thing to ask your prescribing physician. Is this habit forming? Because some people are terrified of the addictive aspect that way. The other way is that is more common is, I don't want to depend on it to make me normal. Whatever the fuck normal means. But alright, that's another conversation. Okay, well, people that wear glasses and can't get LASIK don't want to depend on their glasses, but they gotta. People that are diabetic don't want to depend on having to monitor and manage their blood sugar, but they gotta. People that have amputations, you know, that choose to want a prosthetic don't want to depend on it, but they gotta. People who are wheelchair users or riders that would much rather not use it probably have to. So let's not think of medication as necessarily a crutch. Let's not think of it as an excuse, because glasses aren't, diabetes isn't, the flu isn't, right? Like we take cold medicine when we have the flu or something, right? So becoming dependent is a subjective kind of definition that you really need to examine for yourself. How am I defining dependent? And is this just me being fearful of something I don't know? So if your brain's being super mad or super out of control, super bad to you, depression, super out of control for you, anxiety, meds may be the way to go. So I am gonna finish up this here back tattoo, and apparently I'm gonna be on Dondaroing 101 tonight. I don't know if he has started his stream yet or not on standby, but if he has, I would absolutely love to raid him, and we can talk some more about some bullshit if you like. But yeah, bottom line, let's just go with her. I like her. Bottom line,
You're not much of a bleeder.
anxiety, and what's funny is I'm really not in real life either. Anxiety and depression are a normal part of human life because we get stressed out. We are not taught to handle stress, and we are seen and judged for not seeking help when we need to seek help. So the last takeaway, the biggest, largest, like hella bomb hefty duty piggly wiggly boom bam bomba clocks fucking thing about anxiety and depression is, especially anxiety, is because they're a normal part of life, they can be used to your advantage. And when I say that, I mean we can turn what seems like a burden into a superpower. Case in point, overthinking is the number one anxiety symptom that I've encountered. Is that a motherfucking spaceship? That's hilarious.
Hey, bud. That's good.
But yeah, overthinking is the number one symptom that everybody with anxiety has experienced at least once. Overthinking looks a lot like racing thoughts, but instead of a negative spiral with depression, it's an everywhere spiral with every thought you've ever had and lose connection to everything that makes you feel overwhelmed and all over the place. Good example of overthinking. I miss a call from my partner. My brain automatically knows my partner only calls when he needs something specific. Because we live together, there's no need for us to call because we're always in each other's face. But my partner calls, I miss the call, and I'm like, oh no, he must have needed something. I call back immediately, he does not answer. And that's where the overthinking starts. Oh no, he only calls when he needs something or it's something important. Oh no, maybe he's gotten hurt at work. Oh no, this, that, the other. Oh no, I'm a bad girlfriend. I'm bad this, I'm bad that. Oh no, this, that. Oh my gosh, I'm never going to have any friends. I'm never going to amount to anything. I'm terrible at relationships and I'm an awful person. See how that spiral just took the fuck off? That is overthinking. So, what you may notice about overthinking is it's so involuntary when things are negative or fear is involved. But when I say turn it into a superpower, we never really think to use it voluntarily. The reason I'm so great at my job and so great at multitasking, obviously not with this game, is we never use it to our advantage in the way that matters. So the way I'm so good at multitasking is I use my overthinking. I use it to run various scenarios for things I need. To run various scenarios for plans I'm trying to make. To you know, determine my next move depending on an outcome for small things, right? So a better use of overthinking would be, all right, so I'm expecting a surprise check from one of my 80 million jobs because I hustle, y'all, it's awful. From one of my 80 million jobs, but they have not told me when they're gonna mail it, or they haven't told me when they're gonna send it or cut it or whatever. And I'm trying to plan a trip, I'm trying to plan my spending money, I'm trying to budget, all this, all that. So with my budget, I come up with, you know, maybe a 3-step scenario. It's like, all right, if it hits by this time, we will do these things and utilize these funds for that. If we're already there by the time it hits, then we will, you know, use this card as reserve. And, you know, if this shows up, then that's extra spending cash. So instead of letting it spiral and spiral and spiral about negative things, we can utilize it to spiral and spiral and spiral about positive things that are actually useful to us and helpful. So that when we do just start to, you know, pursue one of these options, we feel good about ourselves because it's like, hey, I planned something and it panned out. That's awesome. So things about your anxiety and depression can be burdensome if you let them. They can be taken care of. Every day is not going to be a great day. Every day is not going to be a calm day. Sometimes there are downswing days. Having crash kits is helpful, and utilizing that ruminating, utilizing that overthinking for good as a superpower can be a bit more helpful and rewarding than just being involuntarily subjected to it when we are, you know, feeling how we're feeling. So with that, I'm gonna wrap here and we are going to raid the lovely Dondero. Let's see if I can do this right. Bam! I think I gotta do it on the Who's It What's It. Let's try again, kids. Let's try it again. Oops, wrong keyboard. Twitch the Dondero. Hot. And then you do the... I'm gonna get good at this one day, guys. One day. I'm gonna get so good. And again. Oh, I just did it. Oops, wrong keyboard. Hot. Or not. Oh wait, no. That's a lie. That's a lie. Whatever. If this doesn't work, I'm not gonna worry about it. Alright, whatever. Well, I'm about to be over here at this guy's channel. I did not mean to do that. Come on, hands, work with me. It's what happens when you get your nails done shorter. There we go. I will be right there in a matter of seconds. So I appreciate y'all hanging with me. Come back next week. If you have mental health crap questions, whatever you want me to explore and answer, DM me, inbox me, comment on my video, whatever you want to do. And we're outies.